Hi everyone, this is Parul and I'm a yoga teacher for adults and kids for last 7 years. For last few years I've been focusing a lot on kids yoga because I do feel there is a lot of gap in this space, and I can explore a lot of creativity in teaching yoga to kids. So I love teaching yoga to kids, and today I want to share with all of you my top tips based on my experience, how to manage kids in a yoga class in a positive way. These tips are for anyone actually who work with kids. So not only if you're teaching yoga to kids, it actually can be for teachers, if you are in school, or if you work with kids like dance teacher, music teacher, or art and craft, anybody who works with kids, or even can be handy for parents. These are very practical tips based on my experience. So my first tip for managing kids yoga class in a positive way is to go with the kids' energies always. So you can be very creative, you can have the best of a yoga plan, a lesson plan, but if you don't adapt according to kids' energy levels, then it might not go as per what you plan, and then you might feel bad. As a teacher, you feel that you're not a good teacher, and things have not gone as what you plan. So it's very important that you observe the energy levels of the kids when you are with them, as the kids are entering. Take few minutes to understand what are their energy levels. So if you have planned a really good breathing practice or meditation technique and they are very high on energy, that technique might not work. So if they are on high energy when they are entering the class, maybe you can just do something high energy with them, and you can set some boundary also, that you can say that, okay, if you want to run around, if you want to jump, if you want to dance, why don't you do it on your yoga mat? So you can give them whatever they want, maybe set some boundaries, and then gradually transition them to what they really need. Then you can do what you have planned, but first you have to connect with them on their energy level. So my first tip is to always understand the energy levels of the kids, do what they want in that moment, and then slowly transition into what they need. They need yoga, so you have to slowly transition in that. Okay, so that is my first tip. Go with the energies of the kids. Second is always calm and ground yourself if you can before the yoga class, because your energies would be transitioned to kids in the class. So if you are very anxious, worried, stressed, that would, you want it or not, it would definitely transfer to the kids. So take some time if you can before the class, to just do some breathing practice or some stretching or some short meditation, whatever you think would ground you, would relax you before the class. It's very important that you have to be very relaxed in the class, so then whatever happens in the class, you can manage it in a more positive way. So do calm and ground yourself before the class. My third tip for managing kids in the class is, don't take anything personally. A lot of time I've noticed that sometimes the class is very challenging, which is very normal when you're working with the kids, and I have got the feedback from a lot of teachers that they take that very personally, that it is something, it is something that they are not good at. So I don't think so anybody is a bad teacher, so don't take anything personally. It is actually not about you, it is about the kids. When you are with them, of course you have to take care of yourself, but you have to, like I said, you have to go with the energy levels of the kids, because they're kids, they might not be same always. They can have their mood swings, they can have their tantrums, they would have a bad day, and sometimes they don't know how to communicate. So never take anything personally, and really enjoy this journey of working with the kids, be it yoga or wherever, whichever space you work with. Just enjoy this journey. Teaching yoga to kids or being with kids and exploring activities with kids is very fulfilling and rewarding. So be very patient in this journey. There would be a lot of time when it's challenging, so don't take anything personally when you are working with the kids. And my fourth tip would be, don't get personal or don't judge kids. Every kid is very unique, very special. So never make any personal comments on kids. And I think yoga is one space which we can give it to kids, which is non-judgmental, which give them an opportunity to just be, just being themselves. So never judge any kids. In my experience, that's not a good idea. Never get personal, and just give them a space, which is non-competitive, which is really, where they can just relax, they can be calm, and they can just be themselves. Because as it is, I think they do a lot of activities where there is a lot of pressure, where there is a lot of distraction, where there is a lot of stress. So this space we can provide to kids, when they are doing yoga, to just being themselves, and that's when I think they will really nourish and explore this beautiful journey of yoga with you. And the fifth tip would be that always plan your class according to the age. So if you are working with a 3-year-old kid, and if you try to teach them yoga in a way you would teach an 8-year-old kid, it might not go well, and the class can be really mess. So for that, it's very important to understand what are the age appropriate teaching techniques to work with the kids. So for that, you need to understand the development stages of the kids, at what is their learning ability, what they can do, what is their capability, and then you have to plan the class accordingly. So these are my top 5 tips that you can use to manage kids in your yoga class, and maybe these tips would also be handy and practical in the other areas if you are not a yoga teacher who work with kids, or you're aspiring to be a kids yoga teacher, or you work with kids in any capacity. I feel these tips can be really handy, and they've always been very helpful for me in managing kids yoga, that I've been doing it for last 7 years. If you want to learn more about teaching yoga to kids, you can follow my Instagram channel, Blissyogakids. I post a lot of free content here. You can also follow my YouTube channel, where I also post a lot of free content, and you can learn about some creative ideas of teaching yoga to kids. You can learn some tips and techniques to make your classes interesting. And if you want to go deeper in teaching yoga to kids, or if you aspire to be a kids yoga teacher, you can also join my 95 hours kids yoga teachers training. I would be launching that soon in Singapore. That's an in-person training at Vyasa Yoga. But I would also be launching a lot of online trainings post that. So you can choose if you want to do an in-person training with me for 95 hours kids yoga teachers training, and learn amazing yoga techniques to teach yoga to kids and make a positive impact, and teach them this life skill, that can be so useful for them in their growing years. So you can do that. I am going to add in the detail below. So feel free to check that, and you can always PM me if you need more details. Thank you so much. Namaste, and have a lovely day ahead.